All right, here we go. Not only are we getting ready for another season of football here at the Sports Bar, but this is local history in the making. Welcome to the first ever Monday Night Sports Beat here at the Sports Bar. I can't believe this only took barely a month to get together, or come together. Costas will talk about that in a second. But right off the top of the show, I got a few thank yous. Starting, believe it or not, with my wife, who, you see this microphone right here? This was a Christmas gift like a year or two ago, and it just came out of the Christmas box. I'm ashamed to say it just came out of its box. So the rest is history. Thank you to my lovely wife, Marianne, who's unfortunately under the weather tonight, so she couldn't make it. So she's a big part of this operation. The gentleman right there, looking up the camera with the light there in front of me, is J. Matt Rupar from WILI, our technical director. Big hand for Marianne and James Matt Rupar. Intern Liam is behind Matt. Liam and his crew from ECSU. We got Eastern representing here. And Costas Liapez, of course, who, all right, Costas, this was like only a few weeks ago, over a couple of beers, we're like, we should do something with football season around the corner. And we're sitting at the bar, I turn around, I look at this stage, and that's a freaking TV set. Let's do something like, College Game Day, and, open up the Monday Night Football schedule with Monday Night Sports Beat. So, you want to tell us a little about that day? You remember it clearly. It was only 3 weeks ago.
We just talked it over a few beers, talking about doing something on the local level with the local community, and here we are.
And the history that I've been talking about, well, this is your first live local sports show streaming online on the WILI Facebook channel. Good Company 1400 and 95.3. For those of you who are live, you can go back and watch it. For those of you who are watching at home, you can go back and watch it again in a few weeks, whatever. Tell your friends. We are going to do this again next month, and we hopefully gain some momentum, and we'll do it again in November. But thanks to all who are out here. A lot of former Wyndham High alum. We got former athletes. And hopefully we're going to do, if this continues to go month by month, well, we're going to talk about other towns as well. We're not going to exclude, like Lyman or E.O. Smith or
we're inclusive. We're inclusive.
Exactly, but we're in North Wyndham. This is Wyndham-Willimantic country. As you can tell, we got Jan Coivisto from the Chronicle. Let's meet our panel. From the Chronicle, Jan Coivisto, ad director of the Chronicle. There you go. Jan, tell us a little about yourself.
Awesome to be here. Ad director at the Chronicle. Real big local sports guy. I've coached on some level. I was still in college, so it's been close to 40 years now. Started on the high school level, coached boys basketball for about a decade. I don't know how you did it for so long. A decade was enough for me. It's hard work and it's a grind. And now I do girls AAU. I've done that for probably about 25 years now.
All right, Jan's here, and you can hear that accent. You're from the quiet corner. Where you living these days?
I'm in Brooklyn, and most of my local sports knowledge is Plainfield, Killingly, Putnam, Woodstock, those areas. But Wyndham is in that same conference now, so it's a small world.
Great to have you, Jan. All right. Coach Crudden. We all know Coach Crudden, many years at Wyndham, and, you're receiving something pretty special on October 20th. The prestigious Gold Key Award. Give it up for the legend, Coach Brian Crowden. Coach, a few words about.
Brian's trying to get rid of me. Holy man. Okay, I'm going to start with a story about Costas Liapez. In the summer,
right out of
1990, the Wyndham football program, went on a venture down to the University of Delaware because they ran a great offense. They ran the Delaware Wing T offense. And this was a popular football camp. There were hundreds of athletes from all over the Northeast, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Delaware. It was unbelievable. And there was one gentleman, and his name was, I'm going to connect two sports now, Rock. Was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Was a pretty good high school football player at the time. just prior to going down to the University of Miami. But there was only one person at that camp, hey, that would mix it up with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and that was Costas Liapes.
Wow!
Thank you, Coach.
You are,
Bad memories.
you are welcome, my friend, okay? I'm sorry, what was
Oh,
the question?
we hope we'll get more of those stories. So, Coach Crudden.
Got a little tussle, Coach. Remember that how it started, the little tussle with Wayne. I had a championship Wyndham Wrestling t-shirt on. We were going through a walkthrough that afternoon, and he just grabs my shirt, rips it off like WWE, like ripped the shirt like completely off, and that's how the tussle started.
Were you aware of his wrestling pedigree at that time?
No, but he was the strongest high school football player in the nation at the time.
Do we have any pictures of this? Or, well, not video, probably.
You don't believe us?
There was no cell phones then.
There were Polaroids, right? Rafael Calixto is here. Give it up for Rafael. He's got a resume that would take us through next week, but
Let's not read that.
you wrestled for Coach Crudden, and do you have a slight beef you want to take up with Coach here, or what?
You know, I was very fortunate to move to Willimantic when I was a young child, and I ended up wrestling for Wyndham High with Coach Crudden, which was a very prestigious honor. You know, whether you coach wrestling or he coached football, it was incredible the impact he's had, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But yeah, you know, my buddy from California, this is the impact Coach Crudden has. My buddy from California, college teammate, wrestling teammate, sends me an article that Coach is getting inducted or getting the golden key that we just talked about. And in the article, I believe Coach mentioned some of his best coaches, assistant coaches that, you know, but I was never his coach. Best wrestlers that became coaches. And I'm looking at the list and, Coach, who's the only Wyndham wrestler that leaves Wyndham and still win a state title as a head coach?
Somewhere other than Wyndham? And I would say it's Rafael Calixto. There you go.
You know,
Congratulations.
I don't want to say those guys were good coaches, but you know, there's a little difference there.
Well, both of you represent Wyndham Sports and you do it well, and we're going to get into, we'll talk a little, we're hopefully going to get Coach Pros in here next month, and we know the season kicks off September 13th. I got a little closer here. Back up, sorry. Yeah, you can tell, we're ironing out the wrinkles here this first, a little closer?
Right there.
This is great. This is streaming live here. We're going to get into we're going to talk Wyndham football. We're going to talk how important it is to get out and play Wyndham sports. There's a couple topics that I know Rafael brought up to me the other night, and let's say hello to Costas once again. And you and I talked about getting this thing going, and here we are, right?
Yeah, very excited about it, Keith. Appreciate everyone coming out and looking forward to keeping it going.
So here we are again. We hope to do it every month, all about local sports, and we realize that Monday Night Football is, a little after 8, and tonight we got Jets 49ers. So we'll save like the last 20 minutes, talk a little NFL college. There were some exciting games from over the weekend. And is John Mullen in the house, by the way? The reason why when I think Jets, I think John Mullen.
That's
And he's
right.
like the biggest Jet fan in the area. And he's always here. All right, maybe he'll show up just in time for kickoff.
This is a Jeff Bennett project right now.
That's right.
Let's get, Jeff Bennett is here. We got Jeff Buskey, a bunch of Wyndham High alums coming out to see Crudden and the whole crew here as we do our first show. But at the very end of the show, we'll give our Jets 49ers score predictions, and then a guy we wish could be here tonight, but I've already named the feature after him. We all know Ronnie Adams, and for those of you who don't know, he's another. Did he play Wyndham High football?
He
Ronnie
sure did.
Yes, he did.
So we
He
have.
and his brother Clinton.
That's right, Clinton too. So at the end, we're going to do the RA parlay, and we have a parlay from Ronnie, or is it from his son Isaiah Costas?
His son Isaiah is going to be stepping in. Ronnie had a commitment at work.
Yes. Is Isaiah here yet, or?
Isaiah is not here, but
Okay, well,
he assured me he'd be here.
so Isaiah will come up on stage and do the RA parlay representing his father, but we think Isaiah probably gave the parlay to Ronnie, but anyway. All right, so let's get right into it. First ever Monday Night Sports Beat here on the WILI Facebook channel. For those of you who are watching, hello, and thank you for being part of this local historical moment. Let's get into a little Wyndham football. The season opens up September 13th against Sheehan, a team they played in the States last year, right? How do we feel about Wyndham going into this season? I know we don't have Coach Pros up here, but who would like to jump in first? Talk a little about the team last year and going into 2024.
I'll jump in talking about the present football situation based on an experienced player, okay, that they have back, and that would be an all-state inside linebacker, okay, that doesn't come along very often, but this guy's pretty special. All right, what's it's Malachi Fowler. He's an experienced football player, tremendous linebacker, okay? And the other guy that I'm excited about besides Malachi Fowler is an incoming freshman, okay? And his dad's name is John Torres, who played football with Braun, okay? And hey, this young Torres, Mr. Torres, is going to be an exceptional football player. And right now, preseason, he's starting two ways, starting as an outside linebacker and as a running back. Okay, and Troy Torres is someone to watch, and I think this young guy, he's the future of Wyndham football, and together with the experienced guy, Malachi Fowler, I gotta believe that things are gonna be pretty competitive for Wyndham. Okay, with those two, one young guy, one experienced guy, and they're going to be okay.
Now, was anybody at the Class S quarterfinals last year when they lost to that Sheehan team, 33-0? Does anybody? What went wrong for Wyndham that day? Was anybody there? Anybody?
I was not there. But I would agree with Coach that those two athletes, student athletes, are going to be a big impact in their program. Continue to be, especially Torres as a freshman coming in. And the common thing they both of those individuals have is they're also wrestlers and train at Silverback Wrestling Club.
Yes,
Okay.
they
So
are.
not only are they good, great football players, I think they're going to have an impact on the wrestling team. And Malachi's been an established wrestler for the last 2-3 years. So we're hoping they make that next jump. They're both athletes. I think Provost is going to do a great job with them, and I think the program is. I think they're going to remember that quarterfinal loss and get at it this year.
Good point, Raphael. And hey, well, speaking of the whole Wyndham connection with football and wrestling, as Raphael just said, that you see a huge connection. A lot of football players wrestle, and that goes back many years, right?
Great crossover, Costas Lipez, Jamie Poulin, okay? Joe Muzikowski, who else? John Mullins, okay?
Coach, not your favorite, but I think David Alvarez was.
David Alvarez.
David Alvarez.
He's one of those double guys. He's a wrestler football
Holy
guy.
mackerel. David Alvarez. Hey, David.
Is he here?
Who won that match here at 4 a.m. in the morning between you and Eric Ziska after the induction into the hall?
Coach, we gotta remind you what happens at the sports bar.
Yeah, I'm not that experienced at the
Careful, it's on Facebook too. It's on Facebook.
Hey, speaking of that night, just again, we're sitting with a legend. That was the night Coach Crudden got inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Great honor. And I think Governor Ronan was very good to the Wyndham crowd that night.
He didn't have a choice.
I'll just leave it at that.
That's right, David Alvarez and Costas Lipez arranged for a pretty special situation with the governor for Wyndham fans to be well taken care of. Good job, Costas. Good job, David. You can't hide back there forever.
Now, I might get into a little hot water asking this next question, Coach, because we've had many special teams, wrestling and football. Let's stick with football for a second. But I got to ask you, do you have a favorite team? I'm just going to put you right on the spot.
At what level?
Football. Just pick a team. I don't know.
High school.
High school.
And youth, it would be
Oh,
Wyndham.
yeah, true. High school. High school.
High school and youth, it would be Wyndham. Okay, and in college, I was liking Notre Dame until, this past weekend.
Oh, boy.
What the heck was that about?
Well, we'll get into that, but I'm sorry, I meant favorite year that you coached Wyndham, like a favorite specific team. Off the top, I know you had many good ones.
Yes.
And I want to touch on wrestling eventually, but go ahead.
Question.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I loved them all. The only thing that I've never done was like pick a favorite football player and a football wrestler. I might be ready to do that tonight, okay? but team-wise, no, loved them all.
Okay.
And talking about those double guys, Keith, Baltazar Gonzalez just got in the house. He's back
Oh,
there.
all right.
Welcome
Who,
to the
for the last 20 years or so, has given volunteer time to this community coaching Silverback Wrestling. So the man does it for free, 20 years. Mentors our youth. Great guy over there. Also a good football player. Pretty good wrestler.
Yeah, if a game was ever taken over by a defensive tackle, it was by Baltazar Gonzalez. Great job, BG.
So, Coach, you want to say a few words on getting the gold key, which you'll officially get with, I believe, like 5 other people at the Aqua Turf on October 20th. How about a few words on that?
Yeah, the gold key, I kind of learned, I've always heard about it, not investigated it or studied it too closely. It's truly a prestigious award. You know, many fine top-level athletes that have received the award's been given out for 80 years. And I don't know, coaching at Wyndham, okay, just get more lucky, it just gets better and better all the time, okay, and this Gold Key Award would represent that. I mean, we're talking about, football players like Bart Starr of the Packers, okay, baseball players, Jeff Bennett, baseball players like, okay, Mickey Mantle, okay, those are Gold Star Award winners. I never have met their abilities on the field, but I guess I had a good way of motivating, young athletes. And it was a great career.
Yeah, that's what we should mention. My cousin and my best man of my wedding, Jeff Bennett, is here, and his father, John. Coach Cruden, you have a connection with the Bennetts, too. Jeff was an unbelievable wrestler and a baseball player, correct?
Absolutely. And, Jeff's dad, John Bennett, okay, I have to talk about, Rafi brings up B.G. Gonzalez being a great, volunteer. Well, 2 of my great volunteers, I know are here tonight, one being John Bennett from the early days of really establishing the program. We didn't start the program, but we established the championship program, and another New Jersey guy like John Bennett, Steve Merlino. Where'd Steve go, John? Is Steve still around?
Oh yeah, Mr. Merlino's around.
Is he still here? Those
Coach
2 guys,
Merlino's out there.
they just donated decades of time to the Wyndham Wrestling program and did a tremendous job. Thanks, John. And
Glad you could make it up tonight.
thank you, Steve.
And Raphael, give us an update on what you're doing these days.
I'm just trying to survive every day.
Well, you can start by taking that Giants hat off.
Well, you know what? It was a tough one. And I was a little worried because I know the Viking was coming today, to my right.
That's right, Giants Vikings.
But you know what? I'm not like one of these Patriots fans that becomes fans overnight. I've been a Giants fan. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. Been a Giants fan all my life.
All right.
Been a Giants fan. So I wear it proud. Win or lose, we wear it proud. I'm an administrator at Cheney Tech. I'm still coaching Silverback Wrestling Club. Very lucky to work with some individuals that are giving back. And it's kind of unique. Coach Cruden just mentioned Mr. Bennett and Steve Merlino. And, I was very fortunate that I was able to come back after college and competing, and Steve and the founder, I call them the four founding fathers of the Silverback Wrestling Club, basically trusted me with the club, with Pete DeCarlier and Greg LaFlamme and Jamie Poulin, and we just took it over, and we've kind of built on the legacy that they started, and it's been a great experience. I mean, the Silverback Wrestling Club, which is formerly known as the Wyndham Wrestling Club, we had to name the title because it became so successful that we were getting kids from all over the place. So
That was my next question. That's why the name changed. And what year did it start, and then what year did the name change happen?
So the Wyndham Wrestling Club was established by Steve Merlino, John Bennett, Mr. Goodwin, who are the Goodwin brothers. They also wrestled, their father, and Shahzad Ahmadi, who was another volunteer, Coach Cruddens, who's in his mid-70s and still comes and wrestles.
Wow.
And Steve is still actively coming to the club and volunteers and wrestles with our young athletes. But they started the club in the cafeteria of the Kramer Middle School in 1988.
Wow.
And it's one of the most successful, nationally known programs in the country. So when we go to nationals, people know what Silverback Wrestling's about. They know Willimantic, Connecticut. They know where we're from. They know the legacy. They know the history. So it's pretty unique. I took the program over. Steve gave me the okay, the blessing to run with the program with those three other guys that I mentioned in 2003. So I've been doing that program for 21 years with BG Baltasar Gonzalez and Peter DeCarli, Chris Warren, John Ware, Jamie Poulin, Greg LaFlamme. So it's a community-based program, and it's free for our kids. It's always been free. We do not believe in charging to mentor student athletes, and we've had a lot of great stories. One of them, believe it or not, is Coach Cruddens' son, Bron Cruddens, who ended up going to Brown University and competing at the Division I level.
Yeah, Bron's here, yeah.
Yep, so we have a lot of those stories. So it's a great program, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to be part of it. So I'm still running Silverback. I'm in education, wrestling, and coaches like Coach Cruddens pretty much guided me and saved my life. And Steve Merlino, all my mentors in life, have been out here, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's great to have you here, and thanks for giving us the history on that. And I had the pleasure of having Jojo Gonzalez on my other show, Hometown Threads, and what a story, what a humble human being. He's got such an incredibly bright future. He's already accomplished so much.
When I was coaching high school, Jojo was one of my athletes at the high school. He was a two-time New England champ, which is quite a feat. He's a three-time Collision All-American. And he's now a college assistant at the Division II level.
And he's only 24, 25.
Correct. And he just won his first professional UFC or MMA title about 4 months ago.
So where's he coaching?
He is coaching at my alma mater, AIC, American International College. He did coach last year.
That's right.
And coaches alma mater, the Pride, the Springfield College. But
he's in good company.
he is in good company. He did a year at Springfield College where he got his master's degree, and he's back at where he did his college career at American International College.
The rich history that Wyndham High School has for, here's a question, and we're gonna get Jan involved when we talk about NFL.
I could listen to these guys all night. It's all right.
We're gonna get a little NFL college, but I want to say wrestling and football. Here's a question really for anyone in this community. Rich history, big time. Where would you rank? Is football ahead of wrestling? Wrestling ahead of football? I mean, if you were to choose one of them, I mean, it's unbelievable.
I think it's just important to let people know that it's a great thing to get your kids involved, regardless whether it's wrestling, football, baseball, whatever the sport is. If you're a young parent out there, get involved, get your children involved in sports. It can save their lives.
And Costas, I'm glad you got into it, because that's another topic that all of us could. All you guys can jump in about the passion that this community has always had, us, growing up in this community for sports, not just wrestling and football, but the importance of getting out there and being a local athlete.
Keith, I'll tell you, you mentioned football and wrestling. Costas hit it right in there. Like, it's not really the sport, and it's tough to answer that question because for many decades, Coach Cruddens was the lead, right? And then coaches that are coaching at Wyndham High were his athletes. So it's just a history of coaches, legacy, right? But I think Costas is right. My own sons didn't wrestle at Wyndham High, but they played 3 sports for Wyndham High, and they were fortunate, a couple of them, to play at the collegiate level. We have a student athlete that graduated from Wyndham High a couple years ago. He went to Northeastern. He just competed in the Olympic tryouts at the steeplechase in the Olympics.
Wow.
Just a few months ago. So, I think what Provost is doing, I think the basketball coaches at Wyndham High, Martineau, and all those guys out there. I know, again, the baseball coach is a former wrestler, Mike Haggerty. So I think Costa said it. Get your student athlete involved. Get them involved. And I also believe that if you're not an athlete, hey, get into a club. Get into a spectrum interview. Do something. Get involved.
Are numbers down right now with kids trying out for sports? And I'm hearing that through the grapevine. And
I believe so. In football, I believe they're down a bit, but I can't reiterate this enough. I mean, get your children involved. It's a game changer. Coaches should talk about, you don't want to say, I think, Coach, how did you put it? Should have, could have, and would have.
Could have, would have. The other way of describing those, when the numbers are down, you're just looking for a few good men, that's all.
And I can't express growing up in this community how, and Costas and Raphael know exactly what I'm about to say. I played Willimantic Little League Baseball. I grew up in the Wyndham school system for the most part. Went to St. Mary's, St. Joseph's, went to Kramer, and then went on to a couple of schools from out of town like Lyman and St. Bernard. But I grew up, Costas and I grew up going to grade school together. And as I said, just being active within Willimantic Little League and playing pickup games at Kramer, it was great growing up. It was just the friendships you make. There's nothing like it. And I'd love to see that generation kind of, do what we did.
I think you're seeing a shift. If people are paying attention to what's happening across the country in education and in athletics, you're right. I think obviously the pandemic hit hard, right? And a lot of people were kind of like secluded and doing these things. But if you look at the studies, there's a lot of studies now that are saying, a lot of those gaming and phones, right? There's a lot of high schools around the country going cell phone free zones in schools.
Right.
I think we got to get our young people involved. And it only helps your community. A unique thing, and I don't want to just keep focusing on Silverback or the wrestling community, but at the moment, we have now Silverback coaches that went through the program as youth and high schoolers. So it's kind of like passing the torch. Alex Starr, he didn't go to Wyndham. He's a Lyman Memorial High School graduate, right? Robert Hardy went to E.O. Smith, right? But they went through the Willimantic community. They were Willimantic kids. They volunteered cleaning up old people's homes and yards, and they learned that work ethic through athletics and getting involved. And now they're giving back to the Wyndham community by being volunteer coaches in town.
Great point.
Athletics, it's a family.
Jan, did you grow up playing any sports?
I mean, I think, we all did. These guys' story's a little different, but it's mine. My basketball coach passed away this last year. And it was, the turnout is amazing. It's like Coach Crudden coming in here today and he's a superstar. That's what we think of our coaches. And I think the youth think that today too. I could reiterate what you guys said. The kids should play. The one thing I would add is what I'd like to see, because I go to a lot of games. In the winter, I'll go to 50 basketball games. I'm going to a football game with my buddy to see Plainfield play this Friday. I think when we were playing, there was even more community involvement. Like the stands were full, just the local people came out. I think that's what I would say too. If your neighbor plays, your neighbor's kid plays, go see the game. You got a niece that plays, a nephew that plays. Let's all go to the games.
Absolutely.
I agree. Absolutely.
Now, if Coach Crudden remembers this, speaking of growing up playing sports, you and John Bennett would get on me over and over. You guys really wanted me to wrestle. Do you guys remember that? I would show up, because Jeff and I were inseparable growing up.
Yep.
I would come to those Wyndham High wrestling practices, and I would wrestle with you guys. And at the time, I never ended up going to Wyndham High School, but I was always connected with the Wyndham school system. And I thought about it. You guys almost had me, but I just can't get over, and I can't say it enough, the rich history. And that's a big reason, a big attribute to you guys, Raphael and Coach Crudden, the rich history of football and wrestling at Wyndham. I know there's plenty of other good sports, baseball, basketball, of course, state champs just a few years ago in basketball. Props to Coach Martineau. We got to get him in here one of these times. But that's hats off to you for what you've done.
Well, you're the second guy tonight. Is Jeff Buskey still over there?
He was. I think he had a split.
Busk had to leave. So two guys have gone to confession. Jeff Buskey and Jeff Bennett. Jeff Buskey says, yeah, okay, he should have played football for me. And now we got this guy saying he should have played wrestling. Played wrestling, it doesn't work. Should have done wrestling.
So, Coach, before we transition into NFL and college, let's talk about some. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and then eventually we'll close this out with a prediction: Jets 49ers. I gotta ask you.
Speaking of Jets,
Speaking of, is he here? Is Mullen here?
John Mullins is in the house.
Oh man!
The only Jets fan probably. But guess what, John? I'm going to join you. I'm going Jets tonight.
Jets, Jets.
Hey, Keith, before we transition, I just want to make sure we go back to your question because you put Coach Crowder on the spot. What was your favorite team, I think you asked him?
Favorite team, and I want to know football. Yes, I'm going to make you choose football or wrestling. But first, Ralph said favorite team. What was your favorite team specifically at Wyndham?
That I coached?
That you coached.
I would say might have been softball, right, Heather? It might have been volleyball, right, Cheryl? Yeah.
Never going to get it.
Those were my favorites.
So the reason I brought that up is because the question should have been, or could have been, what was Coach's most talented wrestling team or football team?
All right, well, there you go,
I
Coach.
think this team was so much. I think the team. I still had the T-shirt when we won this title, and I was a very small piece of this team. But I kept the T-shirt because it was a motivational piece as I was going through my athletic career. And even when I was trying out for all kinds of teams, I kept it in my bag, and I even cut weight on it. But I gotta say, is the 1991 New England Wrestling Championship.
What do you got there?
It's still my T-shirt from high school.
Oh!
I think that's gotta be.
Who wants to see him try it on?
I think that's gotta be Coach's most talented.
Coach?
Probably wrestling team.
Coach?
That was a special team. I'm just going to mention a few individuals. You know, that wrestling team that took first in New England, they had a two-time New England champion in Andy Goodwin. They had a two-time Olympian, not in wrestling, but he was an Olympian for the U.S. In the sport of judo. I mean, we were just blessed with a lot of talent, that worked hard, and knew how to compete.
So Keith, if you think my freshman year in high school was easy, I had a two-time New England champ in my circuit, I had a two-time Olympian in my circuit, and then I had a one-time New England runner-up, and I was the freshman. Oh, and guess what? My story is I kicked all their asses, and that's why we were that good.
And yes, you can say ass on
I
Facebook.
got a quick question. Listen, Coach will vouch for this. I think Coach Penny had the toughest circuit
Oh,
in the
yes.
wrestling room. We can't tell you any further.
Yeah, I guess we better not tell that story.
But I want to know, one more question, football or wrestling? Which one? You got to pick one. What would it be, football or wrestling?
Now that Rafi's bigger than me, okay, I was just passionate about both as an athlete, okay, and as a coach. Just
All right. You coming out of retirement anytime soon?
I'm thinking about, now that Rafi is in my weight class, I'm probably not going to come out of retirement.
This is the last thing I said about high school. Coach Cronin, I believe, is undefeated against the famous Jack Cochran.
Oh, yeah?
In football or wrestling?
All right. This is the first ever Monday Night Sports Beat. Thank you for being part of local history. We got about 15, 20 minutes to go. We're going to switch and talk a little.
Costas wants me to tell one story, Costas.
Oh, please, tell a story.
Coach, anytime that you
No, it's all right, it's all right.
I'm all for it.
Okay, Costas wanted me to tell this one story about when I was
It's one of my favorite stories. If it's
when I was, friendly with Mrs. Crudden when we were single. Okay, and she came from a school in Union that had a great football tradition. Sometimes #1 in the country, Union High School. All right? And she asked me, she starts asking questions about football. This is our sophomore year in college. All right? And, she's going, so, you play offense or defense? And I said, well, I'm playing defense now in college, okay, but I played both offense and defense, okay, in high school. She goes, well, what position did you play, okay, on offense in high school? And I told her right out, I said, I was a god, okay? Now, I'm from Rhode Island, and we don't pronounce our R's very well. So like I said, I was a god, and she fell for it.
Oh, man. All right, it's Monday Night Sports Beat here at the Sports Bar, the very first one, live on the WI Live Facebook page. Let's switch gears and talk a little NFL and college. Let's start with college. And Northern Illinois,
Wow.
$1.4 million to go into South Bend and beat the Irish. It had everyone saying wow and jaws dropping all weekend long. Jan, a few words on kick us off of that.
What a game to watch. Unless you're a Notre Dame fan, which I guess there's one at this table, you're rooting for Northern Illinois. That's just what you have to do in college football, college basketball. Got to root for the underdog. I will say this to give Coach a little bit of hope. First year of the 12-team playoffs, 12 teams making it. Notre Dame probably can't lose again, but they still can come back. They're, 22nd, I think, in the newest poll. There's time to recover, and the 12-team, it took long enough, but the 12-team playoff finally, and it'll allow teams, and it'll allow a team, maybe like Northern Illinois, if they can win their conference, to maybe get in that 12th
Wasn't
spot.
it great to see the emotion of the coach on Northern Illinois?
Yeah, that was special.
That was good.
He was passionate. I mean, I think the whole country was probably feeling that way. If you love college football, if you love competition and you love underdogs, that's a great story. That's like the New Guru story, right? It's like, all right, here you go.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So I was convinced. I mean, look, a 4.5, four touchdown favorite Notre Dame was, and they just came off an impressive win on the road at Texas A&M. Nobody in the right mind would have thought that would have happened. So that's college football, especially early on. You're going to see these crazy upsets. Now Notre Dame has who's on the schedule this week? Oh, Missouri. They got to go to. That's Boston College. That's Boston College. That's another great story. BC. How about the BC Eagles, huh?
Yeah.
They're off to a good start. I would say that Florida State team was overrated last year. They had a case to make the playoffs, but they were overrated, and now they 0-2. I think BC is going to settle in and be a decent team, but they'll be, a top 25 team. It's really hard. We're going to get into UConn football a little bit.
I was just going to say UConn.
It's really hard for Northeastern football now. I mean, Syracuse plays in the Carrier Dome, and they have trouble recruiting. I don't see how UConn can ever get there on a consistent basis. Guys want to play in the Big Ten, the SEC.
Well, they need to start playing more teams like Maryland, right?
They need to, yeah. Bring back the Yankee Conference.
Bring back the Yankee Cup.
I think college sports.
Well, Big East football.
You never know.
I think college sports overall just the whole landscape has shifted with the new transfer rules.
Yes.
And what student athletes can do now at the college level, and pretty much they're free agents. They can hold out and say, I'm on a transfer portal and I want to get paid.
Well, I'd like to get everyone's opinion on that. We'll start with Jan, go right down the line. Transfer portal and NIL, your thoughts?
It had to be done. I'd like to see the transfer portal cleaned up a little bit. I don't really like when it's, I'm on a different team 3 or 4 years in a row. But the NCAA had all the control. It was time for the student athletes to have some of that control.
Coach?
Absolutely. Hey, these NCAA was making millions upon millions of dollars. Hey, these student athletes deserve, to make some money, because there was a lot being made all around them, The portal, time will tell. I'm sure it can be made better.
From the first, I've had college experience coaching at the wrestling level, Division II, and you know, we get into that, and I agree with Coach Carter, especially in football and basketball at the Division I level. These student athletes are giving up their lives, their bodies, and let's remember, like, maybe 1%, I think, or less than 1% make it pro. And if they make it pro, the average career is, what, 4.5 years in the NFL? If that. So, I think they deserve to get paid. I don't really like the transfer portal in the sense where, you know, it's inconsistency.
It's helped UConn basketball.
It has, but there's got to be some kind of regulations. There's got to be, for example, you can't just have 3 different, you know, every year you're going to go different team. There's got to be like some kind of regulation. There's got to be a stipulated agreement or something created to regulate it.
Costas?
Yeah, this going from one school to another, you know, year after year, I think the NCAA's got its work cut out ahead of themselves. I'm all in agreement, you know, that they should get money. But this leading from one school to another, year after year, they got to clean that up somehow, some way.
Will we ever see that in high school? No, I'm kidding. Let's hope not.
Wow,
Let's hope not.
you kind of do a little bit.
In Florida, there's talk about it at the football level in Florida.
Well, Florida, Texas, they take their football.
Florida, Texas, and you know, and in the South Alabama high school. I mean, there's a lot of talented high school players in the South, and I don't know what they're eating or what they're drinking on there, but these kids are monsters. You know.
Again, we thank you for being here tonight. My name is Keith C. Rice from WILI, Jan Koivisto for the Chronicle, Coach Crudden, Rafael Calixto, of course, Costas Liapes in the sports bar. We got about 10 more minutes or so. UConn football, I know we just touched on it. Where do you guys stand on the UConn football program? We know the success the men's and women's basketball teams have had. We're on cloud 9. Gino, Dan Hurley, it's just unbelievable. How do you guys feel? I don't know who wants to jump in first about the UConn football program. I have friends who, we should dissolve the football program. I'm on the fence. I hate to see that happen, but Costas?
The people that tell you they should dissolve the football program, they couldn't sustain their athletic department even if they did dissolve the football program. They only bring in approximately $4 to $5 million a year being in the Big East Conference. They can't sustain that. So,
You know, I would love for UConn, people are going to think I'm crazy, I would love for UConn to go to the Big Ten, because they would have to that wrestling.
You never know.
I'm just being biased. But, you know, I believe, and I'm going to say this is the pitch for both universities around here. We are very fortunate in this town to have 2 campuses that we can just drive to on a Friday night, on a Tuesday night, on whatever sport, football, basketball, baseball, soccer. UConn is pretty good. Eastern UConn's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, we're very fortunate. To be honest, my only gripe with UConn football is I wish they built a stadium on campus.
Absolutely.
On campus.
Yeah.
There is talk, like I'm already hearing it now. Oh,
There we go.
I guess. Oh, Jim Mendek is here. All right, Jimmy Mendek.
Jim Mendick is back there. There you go.
Oh, so you guys know each other. All right. So there is talk. Oh, it's got his Jalen Waddle. See, this is great. We got a diversity of NFL fans here tonight. So, but yeah, there is talk of like, okay, it's hard to believe that Rentschler Field has been around for as long as it's been. Now are there rumors or is there actually action being taken about a possible new stadium on campus, or is it just rumors flying around? Jan, have you heard anything about that?
No, my stance on UConn football is it's fine, but you have to, the Yankee Conference or something has to give. Basketball is just such a different sport. Calhoun, when he started, he went to California, he went to South Carolina, Fairs, the Marshalls, he went to Israel, Nadav Hennefeld. He went outside of the Georgetown, Syracuse, BC footprint and said, come play in the Big East. That's how they got good, and they've more or less maintained that for 40 years. Gino, a little different story, but, you know, I'm a big women's hoop fan. Women's hoop, when Gino started the dynasty, was kind of at its infancy of becoming what it is now. It's kind of like the Celtics in the 50s and 60s dominating. So I think that it's just too much of a different sport. I don't think you can get kids to come to UConn to play football. I really believe that. unless they do something with a local conference.
You know,
Then
Ralph-
you can.
Yeah, and Ralph just said UConn going to the Big 12. There's always been, well, we heard over the past month. Now
Big Ten.
it's
Big
kind
Ten.
now, Big 10, yeah, but I've heard Big 12.
Which is about
Yeah.
Big 15 now.
I know, that's
Yeah.
quieted down, thank God, because I'm an old school Big East guy. I will tell you right now.
Yeah, me too.
I moved away for a bunch of years, like 2008 to 2015. I'm so happy UConn's back in the Big East. I found it so hard to sit down and watch a UConn men's basketball game or women's game. UConn play Tulane on a Tuesday night. No, thank you. And I'm a huge sports fan. I couldn't do it. So the fact that UConn's back in the Big East, I just, you know what? I hope the football program can figure something out. But go
I
ahead.
don't know what the finances are. Costa probably has a better idea, but I think for you to see UConn football get to that other tier is you're gonna need a stadium on campus. All these other schools that are trying to compete with or be like have that school massive community on campus, right? You go to Michigan, their stadium's beautiful. It's really pretty much down the block. Ohio State, Penn State, which I'm going to be going to a game pretty soon. I think the student body needs that, and I think you'll see revenue, you'll see more alumni maybe get involved, and but I think that's just one big piece that they missed there. It's just having it on campus.
NIL.
That money.
Yeah.
But you also see, look, I know Hartford XL Center is, Hartford and Gamble, you've had that for the men and women. Didn't we hear something a couple years ago? They're going to start playing their games all in stores. Then all of a sudden, Hartford anteed up or something, and they're back in the mix. So I don't know how you guys
I would
feel.
love to see him play
All in
basketball
stores. Yeah.
Just a quick statistics, Jim Calhoun and I are alumni Hall of Fame brothers.
Oh, really?
Really?
Jim Calhoun is an AIC alumni, and me and him were in the same athletic Hall of Fame.
I didn't know that. He lived in Pomfret for years, and I was in
Yeah.
Pomfret at the
Yeah.
time.
Is he your neighbor, Jan?
No, not my neighbor, but you'd see him out. But most people kind of left him alone. He's kind of a private guy, really.
No, wait,
So,
Renee Zellweger lived in Pomfret at one point.
she lived at there's some mansions in Pomfret, and
Of course,
we're not allowed to go near the mansions, but
Tell us about
yeah.
your mansion, Jan.
yeah, not quite. But so yeah, there's Jim Calhoun's an interesting guy, and I give him a ton of credit for what he did for the UConn's program. And I'm sure they would still give him credit now.
I wonder how a coach like that would perform with the new rules now. Right? Like how,
They'd have trouble.
Like how would Jim Calhoun perform or do now?
That's what you saw Jay Wright at Villanova
Yeah.
said, I'm out. And who's another one? Coach Campbell, he was getting up there. But a lot of these old school coaches don't want to deal with it.
No, well, you got to embrace it. UConn's embracing it now. They're going through the portal and they're doing the thing. So yeah, that's what you got to do. It's definitely a different way to go. No, you're going to have guys for a year in a lot of cases.
Yeah, exactly. And down the road we'll get into UConn basketball. They look good going. Look, we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, a possibility of a three-peat. We'll get into that in just a sec. The UConn men's basketball team, I think, has a very good chance to three-peat. A very good
they
chance.
do.
That would be awesome. That would be great.
I mean, what that's done for this area has been amazing. So, all right, NFL opening weekend. Of course, you had the Giants. Let's just start with the Giants. Let's just get out of the
It
way.
was a tough task for the Vikings.
First of all, what was up with those freaking uniforms?
I have
Oh
no
my
idea.
God!
Not only did they play like this, they looked like this. What?
Oh my God! What are they doing down there?
Listen, I'm upset. I'm not gonna be a negative person. I think there's still a long season left, right? Things happen, injuries. Maybe some people get benched, pick somebody up in free agency. I don't know.
You want to hear a stat about the Giants?
Saquon Barkley looked great. That's what's sad.
Saquon.
He looked like a fresh
Bye-bye.
rookie.
Ready?
Holy mackerel.
Here's a stat of the day. The Giants have been outscored in the past two home openers 55-9 in their past two home openers. They haven't even scored a touchdown. What do you do about Daniel Jones?
I thought you liked me, Keith.
All right, so we had the Giants getting pounded by Coach's Vikings.
That's right.
Costas' Cowboys look quite impressive. Tom Brady was awful in the booth. That's a whole nother story.
Cowboys are gonna choke.
Against the Giants.
I'm gonna say it live. I'm gonna have a little bet with Costas that the Giants put one win of the Cowboys this year.
Really?
That's right.
What's the bet?
I don't know, Cos. What do you want? We'll figure it out.
Steak dinner.
Steak dinner.
Steak dinner.
Steak dinner. Coach will be the chef.
Oh, okay, I'll make it.
All right.
You're paying for coaching highlight with this.
Jan's Ravens. You want to tell a few words about them before tonight?
they look good. I mean, they're playing the Super Bowl champs, the team that most people are picking to go back to the Super Bowl, and they were a toe away from having a chance to go for the win because they were going for 2. They were going for 2. So.
What do you guys think about opening night? The toe. You couldn't ask for a better way to finish.
What a game.
Yeah.
Opening night, the toe. And Isaiah Lively, who I believe is from the Boston area, got knocked out of the game 2 plays before that.
Oh, yeah.
It comes in, makes that catch. Well, actually, before that, I don't know who the guy was that Lamar Jackson just threw a bullet, and the guy didn't finish his pattern. If he catches that, we're not even talking about Lively.
It's true. That was the Flowers.
But, what a great way to kick off the NFL season, unless you're a Ravens fan.
No, it's good.
And
All's
then
good.
Eagles, Packers in Brazil, which I think is a bit bizarre because
Yeah.
you had the stories about the player safety and all that. They got the game and everything was all right. Jordan Love, you hate to see that happen. I think he's going to be all right. Give him about a month. But that was an entertaining game too.
It was. It was an exciting week 1. It was really good. I'll tell you one thing though. I think Baltimore and the Chiefs. I mean, who's going to beat them?
Well, we're gonna.
Giving up on his Giants.
Well, we're getting to our Monday night picks. The Jets are a dark horse for me this year. The only problem is they're the Jets. That's the only problem. Is that something's going to happen. Rodgers hurt in the first play last year. It's just madness happens. But I think they have the best defense in the NFL, and I think they're going to put a whooping on the Niners tonight.
I want to say something about the Jets too, but first let me get a few words in about my Patriots, okay?
Oh boy.
I will say this. Yeah, oh boy is exactly what I was saying because I love Gerard Mayo. I got to admit, I thought going into the season, what I saw in preseason, I thought he might have been a little in over his head. Now, I know he's been a coordinator, but what I saw yesterday was a well-managed game. Jacoby Brissett looked great, and you're playing a Super Bowl contender. Yes, I said the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow, and it's Burrow, not Burrows. Drives me nuts. They went into Cincinnati, beat a good team, played great defense, special teams. Patriots should go 2-0 with Seattle coming east next week. That's all I got to say about that. Now, to follow about the Jets, and it's going to kill me to say this. I did some thinking, and look, if the coach doesn't screw it up, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl, and they're going to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. You heard it here first. Jets, Chiefs. And what a storyline it would be. I don't think it'll happen now because Jordan Love's out. It's probably going to kill the Packers. What if it was Jets, Packers? Love against Aaron Rodgers. What a story that would be.
It could happen. The Jets are tough. McDonald, I think, his second year in the NFL, he's going to be a beast. Brees, they got to go running back. Big pressure on Rodgers. So, and I think you can't count Rodgers out. The guy's coming for blood.
I think the Jets are loaded offensively. Rodgers, Wilson, Brees Hall. Again, it's up to the coach. The defense is amazing.
Loaded defensively.
Coach, a few words on your Vikings.
Oh, good win over the Giants. Okay, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. One game at a time. That's all.
How are you feeling about Sam Darnold?
Sam Donald.
Might be all right.
Yeah, all right is.
Might be all right.
Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
You know? He's gotta he's been all right. Now he's gotta be exceptional.
And well, I don't know if you can hear it. Jim Mendek. Jim, can you hear us back there? Jim Mendek's got his Dolphins jersey. Jim Mendek. His Dolphins pulled one out of their ass. Yeah, you can say ass on Facebook. Yeah. That's because he put the Waddle jersey on in the second half. So anyway, Dolphins pulled one out against Jacksonville. So there were a lot of Week 1 highlights. It's still early, but I'm pretty positive as a Patriots fan. Yeah, I roll my eyes. We'll see what happens. But now let's get into tonight's. We're getting ready to wrap things up here. Jets 49ers. First of all, is Isaiah in the house? Is Ronnie?
Yes. Isaiah's in the house. He's got the RA parlay.
Isaiah, will you come to the stage, please?
Isaiah, Boogie. There he is. He's got the RA parlay.
Ronnie Adams. This is Ronnie's son. Ronnie was unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. And here is Isaiah. Come right up next to Costas. How about a nice hand for Isaiah here? Now, on our first ever Monday Night Sports Beat, we're going to be back here the second Monday of next month. Maybe Coach Pros will be here. We'll have a different looking panel. We invite you to come out. I believe it's like October 14th. So we'll remind you, if you follow me on Facebook, Keith C. Rice, I'm quite obnoxious. I'm a little too much. But anyway, we're going to go down the line with our score predictions here. Jets, 49ers. And then at the end, we'll have Isaiah give the RA Parlay. That stands for Ronnie Adams, RA Parlay. In one of these episodes, we'll get Ronnie in here. Now, I got to ask Isaiah. Costas and I were talking about this earlier. Isaiah, be honest. Did you, is this, because Ronnie sent me one earlier, okay? Your father sent me one. Are you sending your father the parlays, or just, or is it coming from him?
Today it's coming from him.
Honestly?
Honestly.
As you know, he'll be watching this, right?
Yeah,
This is coming from him. All right, because he sent me some loser picks every now and then. So.
yeah, he does do that.
And then he texts me, Keith, you there? I was like, no, I'm kidding. Your dad's
You
great.
gotta keep the track as percentage.
That's right. And maybe we'll start keeping a track of our picks
right,
here.
yeah.
So here we are, the first ever Monday Night Sports Beat. And we're going to go right down the line. I'll start Jets at San Francisco. I think let me get the line here real quick. Does anybody know the line at the top of the
It was 4, but McCaffrey really is out, so I don't know
Wait,
if that
Christian
changed the line.
McCaffrey is
He
out?
is out, so I don't know if that changed the
Oh.
line a little bit, but it was 4.
I see minus 3.5. Niners.
That's went down a little
And the
bit.
over is 43.5, so it's, wow, minus 3.5. Aaron Rodgers is going home. I think the Jets have a lot to prove. I know as a Patriots fan, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm taking the Jets to win this game, 20-17. Aaron Rodgers homecoming. He'll have a pretty good night. Jets 20, Niners 17. Jan.
I'm pretty close to the same thing. Jets 24-13 win outright.
49ers, 27. Okay. Jets, 17.
All right.
Are you okay? I'm gonna go Jets. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out to prove something. I think it's going to be 35. McCaffrey's out 35-21. Jets.
Okay. All right, Costas, before we get to Isaiah, Costas.
Go Jets 24-21.
There you go. All right, now, Isaiah, you're not nervous, are you?
No.
Get right up to the mic, and it's the first RA parlay on record.
He has Debo Samuel scoring a touchdown in San Francisco money line.
That is what he sent me, so okay. And there you have it.
That's a professional pick right there. We're talking about somebody scoring a TD. I like it.
This has been such a special night. I want to thank everyone that's come out to the sports bar. We've had people come out from across the state, faces we haven't seen in a while, old Wyndham High alum, former athletes, and I want to thank my panel, Jan Coivisto, ad director of the Chronicle. Give it up for Jan. Woo! Coach Brian Crutton. Give it up for Coach.
Legend.
Don't forget, he's getting the gold key October 20th at the AquaTurf. Coach will be here signing autographs at the end here. Rafael Calixto. Give it up for Raph. Costas Liapez, owner of the sports bar.
Expect everyone Friday night is at Wyndham's first game.
What was that?
Yeah, Friday night.
Friday night.
I expect the community at the game. As Jan said, let's support these young kids.
Absolutely. And how about a nice hit for Isaiah?
There you go.
Isaiah.
Ronnie's son, our first RA parlay. Of course, thanks to my wife Marianne, who was a big part of this whole operation. J. Matt Rupar behind the scenes here from WILI. Intern Liam and his crew from ECSU. And thank you for coming out. We'll do it again next month, Monday Night Sports Beat, live on the WILI Facebook page and here at Sports Bar. Good night.
Go Giants.